Get ready. I mean, get ready, 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 ready.
It's time to motivate, inspire, transform. Head toward your future. Reach for the stars. Genesis of change begins from within. When you learn to lead, everyone wins. It's intentional leadership.
Welcome back, Mentees, to your Intentional Leadership Podcast. And we are really excited today because we have a guest with us that's going to give us a plethora of information. I'm going to drill deep about leadership and the various roles that he currently has. Would you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Well, first of all, let me say I am elated to be here with Dr. Williams, who exemplifies great leadership and is someone that is inspiring young leaders like myself to be the best that we can be. My name is Oscar Williams. I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I've been in Dallas, Texas, almost 17 years now. And to be honest, I never thought I would be a Texan. Never imagined living life as a Texan. But I think there's something about this Texas weather that has just drawn me and kept me here. So while being in Dallas, God has blessed me to do some amazing things and further my career in education. So about 3 or 4 years ago now, I graduated from Dallas Baptist University with my doctorate in educational leadership and management. Before that, I was a Mustang at SMU. I got my master's in music composition. And during this time also, I've been able to serve as the executive director of music and fine arts at the Potter's House Church here in Dallas, overseeing both our main campus and our Fort Worth campus. And now I'm embarking on a great new adventure. While at Dallas Baptist, my concentration was charter school administration. And I developed this love for just education. I've always had a love for education, but developed this, want to really inspire the next group of leaders and really do something to help change this narrative of the students coming up in this next generation. So it's been on my heart to open Speak Life Academy of Arts and Music, a performing arts-centered charter school. So that is where I've been kind of putting a lot of energy and focus.
And that's where we actually met. He reached out to me, I think it was on LinkedIn.
Yes.
In regards to my experience surrounding charter leadership. And we developed a friendship from that. So I'm so glad you're here. You're still grinding to make that happen because I think it's a phenomenal vision. And also we're church members at the Potter's House as well. So I get a chance to see all of the fine art, the various outlets, the dance, the choir, and the drama. It's just phenomenal. So I know the students in the future are going to have a wealth of knowledge and opportunities gained and practicum experience that I love so much.
That is the plan.
And he is a leader, a multifaceted leader, and that is why we have him here because, of course, we utilize the broadcast to really empower leaders with a focus around being an intentional leader. Good. So let's start off with that. Talk to me about what do you consider or what is your definition for leadership?
Oh, man. Well, that's a great question. I'm actually working on a book that talks about leadership. It talks about like the 10 myths of leadership, right? And so I kind of go into defining what leadership is based off of what it is not. For me, we have the common phrases of leadership is someone that can lead, leadership is someone that has people following, leadership is someone that has a vision. When I think of leadership, I think of a person or persons who are committed to following a goal and understand the costs that come with achieving that goal. I think of leadership in a way that says these persons have been shaped by experiences that help them lead other people to this goal. They're mission focused, they're visioned, and they understand how to calculate both from human resources and financial resources, emotional resources. They know how to calculate all that it takes to achieve this goal, and they stick to that strategy and get there. Now, I know that's a very non-conventional way, but one of the things that leadership school and experience has taught me is that there really is no firm definition of leadership. It shows up in so many different forms. Leadership is different for families, whether it's a father or a mother or a sibling. Leadership is different for organization, nonprofit or private sector. Leadership is different on a school team, captain of a team. So I think when we try to define leadership as one thing, we inhibit ourselves from really experiencing all that leadership is. And to me, again, it is a person or persons that have a goal and have a strategy to get to that goal and are not afraid to count the cost that it takes to get there.
Okay, that's a great definition of leadership, and what I really enjoy was the understanding that leadership is encompassing everyday life in multi-facets. You're the leader of your household.
Yes.
If you're a parent, you're a leader of your organization, sorority or fraternity or what have you. So it depends on that particular organization, platform, the leadership style and how. And even as an athlete, you could be a leader of that team as well. So what do you think about the definition of an intentional leader?
An intentional leader. Well, I love the adjective intentional. So like intentional or intention really for me is about focus. It's about setting my mind towards something and not being distracted by anything on the outliers of it. So if I'm an intentional leader, I'm being intentional about how I lead, who I lead, and what I'm leading them to. So for me in my environments, when I think about being an intentional leader, I think about the very first thing that comes to my mind is, what is our goal? What are my intentions for this goal? And what are my intentions for the people that I'm leading? Because if I can find that out, and if I can answer those questions for myself, well, my intended goal is I want us to recruit 300 people. That's my intended goal. And my intention for that goal is because with 300 people, we can do X, Y, and Z. So now my intention with the people that I'm leading is, with this 300 people, we can do X, Y, and Z. And so doing X, Y, and Z, we can impact the community this way. And then we can bring these resources. And with those that I'm leading, I can then develop them to then bring other 300 more. So now when I'm able to answer those questions, to me, that's being an intentional leader. That's having an intended goal and having intention on what I'm wanting to do with that goal and the people that I'm leading.
So it's the focus.
Yes, absolutely.
The focus for attaining that particular goal.
Absolutely.
And those strategies that are necessary, the human capital.
Absolutely.
The financial resources to attain that particular goal.
Yes,
absolutely. So share with me, in your capacity, you are over multiple ministries. That's under the auspices of the Fine Arts Department.
Yes.
And you're working with multiple people with multiple personalities.
What?
And in leadership, right. So in leadership, how do you handle various situations working with the multiple personalities that you have and to assure that their desired outcome or that goal is met?
So it's one of the things that I am kind of researching and writing in the book. So one of the myths I think that happens with young leaders specifically is that you think you go into leadership position, right? And you think, man, people are going to love my ideas. I am the leader, and we oftentimes as a young leader, we look at other leaders and we see their success and we're like, man, that's how it's going to be. They're going to look at me. Dr. Williams is walking down that hall and then they're just, oh, Dr. Ross, we love you. We love you. Oh, man, that's how it's going to be. And then when we get into it, it's the total opposite. They hate the ideas. They're bucking against leadership. They're undermining. They're doing all these things, right? You're like, wait a minute.
That's the reality.
That's not what I saw. So dealing with what I have learned, especially in a church environment, dealing with multiple personalities and still trying to be intentional about getting us across that goal line. I've learned empathy, and I've learned to be very self-reflective, and I've learned that sometimes what I'm experiencing is actually a reflection of myself, because oftentimes people's actions sometimes are reactions to what has happened to them through leadership or through a decision that I have made or something that I've said that I didn't carefully think through. How's this going to affect them? How's this going to hit them? Who am I talking to? Can they handle it? Do they have the emotional quotient to handle what I'm getting ready to say? And really and truly, if I could say anything to any leader out there, it is really hard work. It is more mental work for us because we have to be psychologists, psychiatrists, we have to be medical doctors, we have to be preachers and pastors and shepherds, and we have to be all of that because people do, especially now, people dealing with so much. And so when they come to us, what I had to understand is they're coming to me because there's a sense of them wanting surety in my leadership. And what I'm feeling may not be them bucking against me, but it may be them trying to give me a message to say, I'm not clear about what it is that your expectations are for me. So I am learning that if there is some type of deficiency that I'm experiencing with someone, I'll first be self-reflective with myself. Did I say that right? Could I have communicated that differently? Were my expectations clear? Were my directives clear? Was I ambiguous in what I was asking? I really, really try to make sure that what I'm intending got across. And then once I answer those questions for myself, then I am reflective of who am I talking to? So what kind of trouble have I had with this person? I've learned to document everything. Okay, if I go back, okay, yeah, we had this same problem communicating. They don't really understand this. They are, narrow-minded. They're tunnel focused. They're this, whatever. And now I am, as a leader, I am able to adjust and say, okay, so now when I'm talking to Susie, I know Susie is super emotional. I know Susie is super analytical. And I know that if I am not very, very clear and consistent with what I'm going to say, it's going to confuse her because she's very black and white. Okay. Now, when I talk to her again, I'm able to say, okay, now, boom, 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 boom. Because as the leader, it's my job to assess who I'm leading and to be intentional about what I'm leading them to.
I think you are spot on around self-reflection. As a leader, you're always, I call it continual improvement.
Yes.
And when you are dealing with a team and you're trying to direct them to reach desired outcomes or goals that you have set, your initial approach may have not been received as positively. And to be self-reflective, well, how, now that I know her or his personality, how could that conversation shift or change where I get those desired results or what have you. Absolutely. And that kind of goes into the acronym MIT. And I always talk about motivate, inspire, and transform. And the motivation piece is self-reflection.
Yes, absolutely.
Self-reflection, because the only mindset I can change is mine.
Absolutely.
However, you can inspire others as a leader.
We should. And, one of the things I can't remember what book I was reading, but it was, you don't want to demand change, you want to inspire change.
Absolutely.
And when I read that, it blew my mind because I started to take that approach even with the volunteers or the staff or whoever. I don't want to be a dictator leadership. I don't want to come in and they do it because they fear for their job or they fear, demotion or anything like that. I want to inspire them to want to do, to change, to come in. And I want to be that type of leader that they say, you know what, man, I'm going over and beyond because I'm inspired by what I see, what I hear, and what I feel.
And a lot of that comes through modeling the expectation.
Yes.
Because a lot of times they don't know what to do or how to do it, so you model it for them. But I love the inspiration or inspiring them because that shifts their mindset for desired outcomes. That's the transformation. So you're spot on with that. So share with me a little bit more about, in your capacity, how do you influence change, especially in the climate that we're in, you know, quote, pandemic. We say we're post pandemic, but there had to be a shift in
Post-steam
how,
pandemic. We still coming out.
there has to be, you know, you had to shift pretty quick. You know, with services ending, but still providing, you know, the same level of praise and worship or activities. And so how did you pivot?
Man, you know, so I do credit having a strong team that I had established, or I would hope to say that I established a good rapport with in terms of as a leader. And it wasn't difficult to shift with them. It wasn't difficult to rally the team and say, listen, none of us know what to do. So we are going to, but whatever we're going to do it together. And so I've learned over the years, and still learning, that good leadership is also about transparency. Because they're not expecting me to wear the cape of Superman. They're just expecting me to be in the fight with them. And when I try to be this superhero, it doesn't allow them to see the transparency of leadership. And I think that sometimes what I've seen is the fault of some young leaders, where it is not so much that our people want us to be superheroes. They just want us to be tangible. They want us to be touchable. They want us to be there. They want connection. They want to know that whatever it is that I'm expecting of you, I'm expecting more of myself, and we're in this together. So during that time, and even now, learning how to be sensitive to the climate. You know, we are, you know, when I say out of a posting pandemic, because we really don't know what tomorrow may hold.
Absolutely.
And so understanding that, being so liquid that if we do need to shift again, I'm learning how to get my team in alignment in such a way where it won't be difficult, it won't be hard, that we communicate. We had to start communicating a lot more. And more so than just communicating about the job, I had to start communicating to them on a more personal level. How are you doing? What is going on with you? Because I need you to be healthy. I need you to be whole in order for us to survive this. And I don't want you to feel like you're the carnage left on the side, like all you are to this organization, this institution, is just numbers. It's just to do the job. I want you to know that in this, we care about you as well. And so your mental health wellness, your physical wellness is so important to the shift of making this work. And as a leader, one of probably the most difficult things for me, if I'm honest, was being cognizant of the person. Because I can be so focused on the goal where I'm not cognizant of the people who are helping achieve the goal. And so I'm learning, like, it takes all of that. Like, you got to ask about, did you get the assignment done? And then how is your baby? You know,
Yes.
yeah. And I'm glad the baby's doing well now. Did the baby impede you from getting the assignment done? So how can we help to work that better? Do you need a little bit more time? Just understanding that and finding ways to show them that I care about you and I care about the work.
The relationship building,
Yes,
is critical, and getting to know the situations that are outlining influences.
Yes,
That's going to impact the work that has to be done.
Yes.
You know, because what we tend to do as individuals is just how we are at home or what's going on at home. It comes to the office with you, you know, or in my case, it comes to the campus or the district, you know. So how is, you know, what's going on with you personally? So I can understand why there's a shift maybe within that particular
Absolutely.
performance level or attitude or what have you. And being concerned. And what I like what you said specifically is, if there's a situation and I'm aware of it, how can I, as a leader, support you?
Yeah, because our people, what I found, especially with my people, and even as I kind of go into this school team, you know, I'm learning so much. What's so funny is I think I know a lot, and then I come against a scenario. I'm like, oh, I don't know nothing. Oh Lord, you know, I just, because everything, and that's another thing that's in the book. It's like you're always learning. You're always at a point. Every situation, true leaders find a way to learn from every situation, every scenario, whether good or bad. That's a mark of a true leader. Like, what am I supposed to learn in this? What am I learning about myself? What am I learning about my leadership style? And what am I learning about other people? And so learning how to support, but even have a line of delineation, okay? Because I don't want that to handicap you, because some people are manipulative.
Yes.
Some people will use that. They will know, oh, okay, well, my baby. Now, Johnny, this is the 6th time that you have blamed your lateness on your child. So I need us to come up with a solution for that, because the work is starting to suffer. And I don't want that to be a reason why the relationship has to end because of that. I want you to be able to take care of your child, absolutely. But we have to have a solution, because there are other people here with children, and some kind of way they're able to make it work to be on time. So let's talk through that. Let's evaluate that in 10 to 15 days. Let's see. Let's talk about what those solutions are, and then let's see how we move forward.
I think you've given great examples of, and takeaways from the podcast as it relates to communicating with your subordinate or the person that you're supervising, whereas it's a constant dialogue.
Yes.
But there is a point and there's a time whereas there has to be repercussions for your actions if it is abused.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And we have to realize that as well. So I like to talk about things that are inspire you. So talk to me first and foremost, what motivates you?
What motivates me? Man, so I am motivated by so many things, but no one in particular thing. So it could be I find my motivation a lot of times in the elements around me. I could be motivated by seeing a child run to her father or her mother. I could be motivated by a mural that I see on the side of the road. I could be, I think with my team, I'm most motivated sometimes by their stories of perseverance, right? Because I find it remarkable, anybody that deals with life and keeps on kicking. So I'm motivated by that. I'm motivated by resilience. I think that has a special place in my heart when I look at my family, my father, who's deceased, my mother, who's still here with us, my grandparents who were deceased. They were resilient. We didn't necessarily come from money. We weren't poor, but my father was such a hard-working man. And one of the things that I say to people, my parents always taught us, if we did something, if I went and kicked the door or something, my mother would say, "Why did you do that?" And I said, "Well, I don't know." And she said, "I don't know is not an answer." You need to have a response to everything that you do, because if you say I don't know, that means you're crazy. And I don't have no crazy kids. So I learned from them that everything has an action, a reaction, but then you're responsible for the trajectory of your life. You have to be resilient. You cannot take excuses. You have to. I think that's the reason why I fell in love with education and just stayed in school and just, because it was this resilience. It was this, when people tell you no, show them a yes.
Absolutely.
And that has kind of been the trajectory of my life. If you tell me no, I'm going to show you the yes. I'm going to find a way. If I don't have the resources, I'm going to find the resources. So I'm motivated sometimes by your no, because your no will motivate the yes in me to show you, like, okay, if I feel called to this is going to happen. And then I'm a Christian. I'm a believer. So I am motivated by the God who strengthens me to do all that I need to do. So I hope that answered the question.
It did. And what I when I thought about what you said, you talked about motivation and various form situation, different things that motivate you. And I honestly, Hadn't thought about it like that, but that is so true. It depends on the situation that you're in or what you're right. An art piece, can inspire, motivate you, or a person's action, to you singing and the emotions that come from that,
and motivate you to get up. You know what, man? Like, if they can be that energetic in this moment of life, I'm motivated to do that. And I think with my team, that happened. Some of them, like most of my team, their parents live out of the city. And so we all have aging parents, and many of the listeners probably understand, like, when you can have an aging parent, but then when you don't live in the same city, that's a little bit more challenging.
It's very challenging.
So, so we kind of garner motivation from each other to just stay with it. Don't get bogged down with your emotions, your feelings, whatever. So we're motivating each other to stay in the fight, and reminding each other of our purpose.
That's a great example. How do you inspire others?
I would hope that I inspire others through a few things, through my actions. I try to be intentional with my actions. I try to be very intentional with my words. I think if I had to leave it at one, I would say my words. I try to be inspirational through my words. When I was on this journey to find out what my true gifting was, I learned that my true gift. So I've been a musician. I've been all of this. And when you grow up in black families and black church, anything that you do good at a young age, that's what you're meant to do. So if you beating on pots and pans, he finna be a drummer. If you say if all of us that did the Dr. Martin Luther King speech when we was in the third grade, we supposed to be a preacher. So when I really learned that my true gift from God is communication, I then took a very serious approach to, I want to make sure that in everything I communicate, whether it's writing a song, playing the piano, preaching, teaching, giving a speech, writing a book, or leading people, I want to be intentional with how I communicate, because I want to inspire them through my words. And so I hope that somewhere along the way, something that I say inspires people to live again, to love again, to dream again, and to hope again.
That's wonderful. I got kind of emotional there, mid-tease, when I'm hearing that, because that your words and actions to me. Yeah, words and action. Last question. So how do you transform those you supervise as an intentional leader, their mindsets for desired outcomes?
Man, that's a really good question. How do I transform their mindsets? If anybody out there knows, tell me. Send me a DM. I think that's probably one of the hardest things, or one of the hardest lessons that I've had to continually learn in this thing called leadership. And I say that because sometimes, depending on what age and stage the person is in, if you get people who are younger, it might be a little easier to transform their mindsets because they don't have enough life experience to really dig their heels into, like, this is how I think. But if you get people in various stages, older stages, sometimes it can be a little more difficult because, depending on the type of person, we are all products of our life experiences. And so we believe ourselves before we believe anybody else. So when you talk about transforming somebody's mindset, literally what that says to me is I have to sometimes convince you that what you think about something is not really what it is. And I'm up against you giving back to me, well, this is what I experienced. And to all of us, our experiences are real, and they become our identity, and they become our reality. And so in my mind, a good leader, a great leader, is one that has the ability to somewhat divorce you from your experiences enough to get you to see that it could be a different way. And sometimes I'm successful with that, and sometimes I am not. But I think the more, it goes back to a word that we said, the more relationship that you establish, the more trust that is garnered, that person understands that if I tell you that outside the sky is blue, but all you've ever seen is gray skies. Relationship will allow you to trust me enough to say, okay, I'll walk out with you one more time because you said it's blue. And then I know I got to deliver this blue sky, because if I walk out and it's gray, I'm going to push you back in there. But at least we have a relationship where I can transform your mind enough so that you don't think that every day is going to be a gray sky, that there will be some days that are blue. And so again, just honestly, sometimes I've been successful with it, and sometimes not. I'm still learning. It's a relational thing. It's building trust. It is, success and failures. It is. And then lastly, it is understanding also that some people you will not be able to convert. And being okay with that.
That part.
And sometimes that means, to the repercussions that you were saying, that when, as a leader, if I know, I think we're at an impasse here, because I don't know that how you're thinking aligns with how I'm thinking, or the culture of the team, or the culture of what we're trying to build here. And it doesn't mean that you're bad. It just means that I don't know if you're aligned for us. And I think it would be in our best interest if you go that way and we go this way.
Right.
And I'm coming to understand that even with the greatest of people, even with the greatest of talents, sometimes transforming their mindset for them would be losing you so that you acclimate to them. And I can't afford to do that.
That's good. That is so good. And I can say for myself, I have done that almost before, and I had to recognize that, we're at a place whereas we need to separatize, and it's okay.
Yes.
It's totally okay.
Yes.
Because ultimately, the only true mindset we can change is our own.
Absolutely.
We can influence.
Absolutely.
We can, just like you said, we can provide support and try to give you the vision or the guidance to say, hey, you can do, if you follow this path, we can reach that goal together. Okay. But if you're not ready to do it, or you're not willing to, then we have to do what we need to do. And you may not be a part of that team.
And that's a hard thing for young leaders. Yeah. That's, again, I keep going back to the book, but I'm really worried because as a young leader, and not young in terms of age, but young in terms of experience.
Absolutely.
You think that this first team that you pull together, is your A team. It's like, oh man, and we kind of sometimes default to the friends. This is another mistake that I made early on, in that the team that you ultimately will have may be very different from the team that you start off with. And because typically we default to people that we know, but we've never worked with them. So I'm going to get my mama, I'm going to get my sister, and I'm going to get my cousin, because my cousin work at a bank, so he going to be over the finances, and my sister, she talk on the radio, so she going to be communication director, whatever. And we don't realize we've never worked with them. We've never had to lead them. We've never had to manage them. And it's a total different experience.
More pushback than anybody in the world.
Oh, my
The people you
goodness,
know.
the people that you know. And then now becomes the challenge of, how do I separate? Because now I have brought in our personal relationship and a professional relationship, and some people don't have the emotional capacity to separate the two.
That's right.
So if I had to let you go, it feels like I'm letting go of a friend, not an employee. And so understanding that, and so the next go around you learn, okay, mama might be really, really great, but I just want mama to be mama.
Exactly.
And I'm going to keep mama in that category, because I can't never fire mama from being mama. And I don't want to have to fire mama from being cafeteria manager. Yes. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to let mama be mama over there, and then I'm going to find someone where there is no emotional connection, so that if the job is not being done, there is no wear and tear on me emotionally when I have to make the decision that I have to make.
That's a good insight. That was very good insight. So as we conclude the broadcast, this has been really great. I could continue talking with you all day. But I do want to ask you, is it anything that you'd like to share as a closing statement with our audience?
Yes. Well, to all those who listen, again, I so appreciate this opportunity. I so appreciate you, Dr. Williams, for allowing me to come and to be a part of this amazing movement that you have. I think it's great to inspire those potential leaders, those aspiring leaders, and those current leaders out there, giving them nuggets and jewels and gems to just kind of do what we do even better. So to everyone out there, my mantra in life has always been very simply speak life. The school that I'm building is called Speak Life Academy of Arts and Music. My LLC is Speak Life. My latest music project is called Speak Life. And Speak Life has been a part of my life. It comes from the scripture from Proverbs, death and life lie in the power of the tongue. But it's also a deeper meaning in that in everything that we do, in a world that promotes a culture that cancels, in a world that promotes almost demoralizing everything, in a world that would make us turn on our very family, you have to choose to speak life. You have to choose to find that is positive and speak that. You have to understand that there's so much power in your words. Your very atmosphere, the very thing that you live in is cultivated by the words. My tagline is, your words create your world. And so to everybody out there, every day of your life, choose to speak life. Choose to speak into your world the words that will create the world you want to live in. Thank you.
I think that sums it up for this podcast. He's touched my spirit right quick like. So again, we'd like to thank Dr. He didn't say it earlier, but I'm going to say it, Dr. Oscar Williams, for attending the Intentional Leadership broadcast. And as always, mentees, the genesis of change begins from within.
It's intentional leadership.